Is Bro Force Squad home? Welcome back to the Bro Force Squad podcast. We're coming at you guys from some creepy-ass trailer park in the middle of nowhere. I am Brian Banner, and tonight I have Ronnie Cycli, our legal counsel, with me, here to give you guys a non-spoilers, very seldomly seen here on the Bro Force Squad, a non-spoilers review of Strangers 2. As always, we're going to be going over our 5 criteria: acting, cast, story, plot, best scene, impacts on pop culture, and rewatchability. So, Cycli, let's get right back into it. We're fresh out of the theater. What did you think of the acting and cast? Remember, this is non-spoilers of Strangers 2.
Well, first of all, I just want you to know that I did not wet my pants. So that is a big deal. I spent a lot of money on adult diapers, and I'm glad I didn't, but I wasted money, I feel like. But when it goes to acting, that's where this movie was lacking, I think. I think for the most part, overall, I'm not going to say who, but 3 out of the first 4 characters were subpar. Not to say that it distracted enough from the movie that it wasn't enjoyable. They were good enough to make this an enjoyable film, but one actor stood out, and the other 3 just really didn't hold their serve.
I agree with that. I mean, I think at times it was a little distracting, but it didn't take me out of the movie. Like, I think some of it too was some of the line delivery and just the writing in general. It's like you can't do a whole lot with what they gave them, but it wasn't so distracting that you're like, look, this movie was dog shit because of it. It wasn't that bad.
How much was it to you, the director's, his approach? We won't spoil what he does, but he definitely takes a unique approach to it.
Yeah, and I think this will kind of lead us right into our next category, which is story and plot, and how the movie was framed and how they kind of made it different from the original Strangers. I think that was part of it, that we went into it expecting a movie more similar to Strangers, and it's not. It is a sequel. It is its own movie. It isn't done like Strangers. And I think that was part of it. In the moment, it was a little... That's what made some of the other elements of the movie not as good.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you think about the story and the plot? Did you like it? Obviously, they changed it up a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah. It goes both ways. My biggest fear going into the movie was we were going to see the exact same movie as the original Strangers 10 years ago. And Strangers is one of my favorite scary movies of all time. And the main reason why Strangers is one of my favorite scary movies is it's so realistic. It is so, you connect with the characters, and every part of that movie is so probable. Like, it can happen. And the characters act with brains. It is one of the rare horror movies where they actually think and they make decisions that, a normal person would think. The sequel here, Pray at Night, there were moments where I felt like, hey, they're making an original story. It's not copying the first one. So I respect that aspect. The manner in which they did original storytelling wasn't the best. It felt a little lazy. It felt a little rushed. The movie comes in at 85 minutes after credits. It is
insane.
A short movie. It is an Emperor's New Groove short movie.
There are episodes of Game of Thrones that are longer than this.
Yeah, that's absolutely ridiculous, and that should not happen. And it felt short. It's not like one of those movies. Like, I felt it was lacking. Like I said, I do give them credit for trying something new, to filming something new, and it had some original storytelling. So that's my point of view. What do you think? What do you think, Banner?
I like that they switched it up. I had the same fear as you, that we were going to go in and we were going to get Strangers again, not Strangers 2. We definitely got Strangers 2. Not as good as the first one, in my opinion. But they tried to do more character development, and there was a little bit more that wasn't just kind of implied, like there was in Strangers. So it was refreshing. It was also done more like an older 80s horror film or thriller. And it was kind of cool to see that back, but I agree with you. This felt like this was a movie that they were trying to capitalize on the first one, and they busted it out and released it 18 months after the original came out. But it was 10 years, so it was a little disappointing in that aspect. Moving right along, I'll go first on this one. Best scene. There's a scene that I thought they actually choreographed, and I thought it was very well done.
Was it with the pool? No spoilers.
Yes. There is a scene which you see part of this scene in the trailer. There's a scene that happens at the pool. Yeah. I forgot that it was in the trailer, so you said that. There is a scene at a pool that was very, very well done. That was one of the times where I really felt like I was scared for that character, and it was somebody actually fighting for their life. I mean, I don't think that's a spoiler either. What about you? What was your favorite scene? What can you tell us about a scene in the movie?
I'll just say, first of all, I agree with you. I love that scene. And there's also music set to that scene that you're describing that I'm going to compliment the entire movie. The score, the soundtrack for the movie was fantastic. And they put and I loved it was very different music from the first one, where the music really set the scenes in the first one and scary. They made the scenes way scarier, I mean to say, in the first one. This one was different type of music, but filled the scenes perfectly. So I love what you had to say about that scene. My other scene was a character finds himself in a certain predicament. While I don't like how the character got in this predicament, it felt really lazy to get him in this situation. There's a situation where a character is also struggling and has a really big one-on-one with one of the characters, and it's just it felt very real.
Yeah, very emotion filled.
Yeah, it felt very like if this was me in the situation and you're faced with someone who's torturing you, how I would act. And I felt that was very well done.
Yeah. So moving along, you'll definitely, both of those scenes, when they happened, you will know. And I agree with you. Those are the two best scenes in the movie. Moving right along, we've got impacts on pop culture. Cycly, I'll let you take this one first. Any impacts or lasting effects from this movie?
I think the biggest impact on pop culture was the first one. I think this one failed to capitalize on what the first one built. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they waited 10 years to make this movie, and they also cut about 35 minutes from in terms of running time. It was really quick. And so, when you have a short movie like that, yes, it was to the point, but it doesn't have that powerful moment, that powerful story that you carry into pop culture. Strangers really changed the game in terms of horror movies. You saw a lot of genre in the next couple of years that copied and mimicked the type of horror movie that Strangers was. The fact that Strangers originally didn't show who did what was a massive appeal in terms of the normal horror movies that always gave you an answer. This one really, in terms of pop culture, I don't think most people are going to bat an eye to it. And not because it's a bad movie, it's not. But there's just nothing there that's special, at least to me. What did you think?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I think that the first one did so much to change the genre. And this is coming from somebody that I don't particularly like scary or horror movies. So the first one did such a good job at changing the genre and giving somebody a fresh look at it all, that this one just can't replicate. And this one didn't separate itself enough to go, oh yeah, this kind of did the same thing. It didn't revolutionize everything. And it wasn't on the same level as those top horror films or thriller films that we traditionally go to. So not a lot of impact here. And moving into our last category, rewatchability. I might watch this around Halloween time. If I watch the first one, watch them back to back. Because honestly, you can spend like 4 hours and watch them both. And that's mostly the first one. So I probably won't watch it a whole lot. Definitely not the scene in theaters. Probably just because I'm a weirdo and I have to complete the set. I probably will buy it on DVD or digital. since I have the first one. What about you, Cycler? Are you going to watch this movie again, and how often, if so?
I think I'm going to watch it again, but only to introduce people who haven't seen the second one. I have a feeling a lot of people saw the original Strangers 10 years ago, but aren't going to see this in theaters for whatever reason. And then, we're going to be hanging around with friends one night, and they're going to make a comment that they haven't seen Strangers 2, or it's going to be around Halloween, like you said, and we're like, hey, let's watch Strangers 2, and that's going to be something that I'm okay with. Like, I have no problem watching it again with friends, love seeing everyone's reactions. Seeing it again back to back with the original. But am I going to purposely by myself or with my wife seek out to watch this movie on our own? Probably not. But, in terms of having fun with my friends, I'll definitely put it on again. No problem.
Yeah, I agree. All right, guys. We have been the Bro Force Squad podcast. I am Brian Banner for Ronnie Cycle. You guys can check out all of our content on our website, broforcesquad.com. Go ahead and give us a like on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at BroForceSquad. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button on YouTube and on iTunes. Till next time, we'll catch you later.
Is Hornacek home?
You sounded sexual.